Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sandra Lanch podcast. Today, we are discussing Oathbringer, Book 3 of the Stormlight Archive, and we read chapters 73 through 76, wherein there's an attack on the walls of Kholinar, but not like a major one. It's fine. Vale distributes some more food. But I think the big thing is our last two chapters are we finally find out what happened to Dalinar's wife. So kind of a major moment to hit. I'm Data, and with me today is
Jack
and Joe.
No Jaymee this time. She has things to be about. I think she'll probably be disappointed that she missed this particular discussion because especially I feel like has been waiting for this one for a while. But these things happen. So, hang on to something, everybody. The Sandra Lanch is about to begin.
Yearnings intertwined, the golden age in ashes once again. Under stirring stars, in the burning shards, kindle fragments of the fallen rain. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn. Stronger together now.
So, yeah, 4 chapters, and like I said, something I think we've been waiting on for a bit. So, what did you guys think of these 4 chapters?
I'm going to be honest. And basically, until right before we started recording, I was like, what were the first 2 chapters in this bit? Because what happens in the second 2 chapters just completely drove it from my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do a quick refresh, and I'm like, what happened in those chapters? Like, oh yeah, Kaladin on the wall, and Vale doing the Spren thing, which was weird, but interesting. I don't quite know where that's going. But yes, the main event is the flashback to the Rift and what happens to Evie, which fucking heartbreaking. It's like, I felt really conflicted because I'm reading, it's like, I sort of understand Dalinar on this one. He did, he tried to be the bigger man. He tried to do it, and I'm not saying I condone his actions, but I can understand the thought process that led him there. And yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, she's down there. And he's just like, fucking what? And yeah, and then the court gossip is, oh, she tried to betray us. And he's like, no, that's what Alethes do. And she was better than us, damn it. So yeah, fucking heartbreaking stuff. Although it does seem like the kind of thing, it's like, I wonder why this never came up in conversation with anyone who isn't Dalinar. Adolin, Renarin, like all the times we spent in their heads, well, Adolin's head, and like, mentioned, oh yeah, when Mum died horribly in a city under siege. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not have the experience that they have of being like real young and losing a parent. I don't know. I'm sure some people would talk about it a lot, and others like that's not a subject they'd want to touch on. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, it's a pretty monumental event there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Of course, who even knows like exactly what because they weren't there. So what has like their dad and other people been telling them about this all this time? Is it just the official company line, basically, that Dalinar kind of proclaims at the end, or
yeah, good point.
What have they heard?
Who knows? I'll have to ask them that when Adolin gets back from his little mission.
Yeah, these chapters, I get frustrated a little bit with the Kaladin chapter sometimes, especially now that we're involved with this wall guard stuff, because it's like I feel like right on the cusp of like understanding something really important. And then, like, right as I think we're about to get some kind of extremely useful information, the chapter ends, and I'm like, oh, well, we didn't get any information. So, while it's not that I'm not enjoying it, I'm just like, oh, come on, give me more. The Shallan stuff with the Spren, I think all that kind of stuff was really cool. We've got some more worrying kind of disassociative things going on again, which like it keeps coming up. So I feel like maybe, early predicament, maybe that's going to come to a head somehow at the end of this book or in the climactic moment of this book where like she has a breakdown or something bad is going to happen involving all that, because we keep kind of coming back to this like identity crisis stuff. And I can't imagine that it's going to keep being brought up to I mean, maybe we could be on a really slow burn, but I feel like it's been hit very hard this entire book. So I feel like it's going to have to come to a head in some fashion in this book, just because it's been hit so hard. But yeah, I actually thought the Spren like cult stuff was really cool. Her kind of like freaking them out by like, oh yeah, the wind's not even blowing and my tassels are still moving. I'm a real Spren, run away. Thought that was kind of humorous. There's also some stuff going on, obviously, with Shalon somehow not living up to her vows, because Pattern was like, like, remember what you said, the vows you said. So like, I'm interested to know exactly. I feel like it's the one these vows, like, we don't really understand. At least I don't really understand how they work for Pattern. So I'm interested to know what she's kind of doing to move herself away from that specifically, if that's what's going on. And yeah, the Dalinar stuff. I mean, we finally get our answer on what's been going on. I agree with Dak to an extent. It's like, obviously we don't condone Dalinar's actions in this moment, but we can see how he got there. There were a few things that I was kind of confused about in the actual narrative. Like, he runs down the part where he runs down with his elites and he gets buried under the rock. Did some of his elites also die? If not, why did they run away? Like, why did they not try to find him? Why were rifters digging him out? It seemed really unclear to me what was going on in that moment. So maybe we could talk about that a little bit when we get there. But yeah, I agree with what Data said. It's possible to me, at least the way I read it, is that because Dalinar ends up giving up his memories of his wife, and there's this official line of what happened during the rift, it would not surprise me at all if Adolin and Renarin were just under the impression that their mom was assassinated, because that's the official story, and Dalinar didn't keep the memories of his wife for such a long time that it's possible that he never felt guilty enough to be like, oh, I need to tell you what actually happened, because by that time he'd forgotten. So that's kind of like where my thinking was on that. But yeah, good chapters. Finally got some answers. Some stuff not being revealed, which I'm like, come on, I want to know. So we're getting there.
Yeah, it's an interesting point that it's like, yeah, he lost his memories. We don't know how long after this, but at some point after this. So he couldn't have told people what really happened if he wanted to after that point.
Yeah, and like, I just don't think... I think the Dalinar we know now would feel guilty enough if he remembered what happened to tell his sons, like, look, this is what occurred. Maybe not. Maybe he'd be afraid that they'd hate him or something, but like...
I mean, yeah, that's a big thing to have to own up to your kids.
Yeah, but... and like, you immediately hear that struggle that he's going through in his own mind after it happens of like, this wasn't my fault. So you already know that it's difficult for him to figure out it's difficult for him to take responsibility for what actually occurred in that moment. It was, I assume, because he eventually does go to the Night Watcher, Night Mother, whatever she's called. I always get confused about that name.
The Night Watcher. You said it, yeah.
Night Watcher. I said Night Watcher, and then I said Night Mother, which I'm pretty sure is from Elder Scrolls. So that's
a Skyrim thing.
Yeah,
I get confused between that all the time as well.
Yeah, she's I think she's in Oblivion and Skyrim. But yeah,
I played Oblivion. I need to.
Oh, dude, the remastered version. Digression. The remastered version is so good. Like, I always enjoyed the story of Oblivion more than the story of Skyrim, and since that remaster came out, it's great.
All right, I'll hit it up.
Yeah, the physics, they didn't really change the physics of the game, so like shooting bows is still kind of sucky, but other than that, it's really good. But yeah, I get the feeling that Dalinar just doesn't remember, and he's never really given that information to his sons. So,
also, you brought up how Shalon scares them by, her tassels are waving when there's no wind, and when I got to that part this time, I was like, if I'm in a big group of people all wearing crazy costumes and dancing around all insane, I'm not sure I would pick up on the fact that somebody's tassels were blowing without wind. But maybe it's just
I kind of felt the same way. I was like, why? Like, everybody's real observant, I guess.
Yeah.
But it had to work for the narrative, I suppose.
Okay. Let's get into these chapters, y'all. Let's do this thing. So we start out with telling witch stories. And the drawer here, the epigraph, I am worried about the tower's protections failing. If we're not safe from the unmade here, then where?
So that one's kind of fun, considering we know from experience at least one of the unmade just made themselves at home there. So
Right? So,
what
yeah.
the fuck went down? Like, this is meant to be the one place the unmade can't get us. Well, I'm just going to set up shop here.
Yep. Also, at this point, now that we're talking about it, somebody in the Discord was like, you should point this out to them. And so I will touch on it. I never mentioned it because it seems like a lot to have to kind of remember. But basically, if you look at in the Ars Arcanum in the previous books, there's a chart at the end that says like number, gemstone that's associated with that, essence that's associated with that, and so on and so forth. And there's also like the gemstones are associated with the different orders of Knights Radiant.
Oh.
And so
you can extrapolate from the gem what kind of radiant it was.
Yeah, exactly. So the garnet, let me see if I can find which one is which, but the garnet is Lightweavers, this says. So
neat.
So yeah, it's not super informative, but it's an interesting little fun detail.
Yeah, it's a little tidbit.
Yeah. And we get Beard is telling a story about the time he met Dalinar, the Blackthorn. It's like, you did not meet the Blackthorn. I did. He complimented me on my uniform and gave me his own knife for valor. And it's
Blackthorn does not give knives. The Blackthorn takes knives for his steak.
Well, it's funny to me that the knife comes up because it's like he had to take that steak knife because he lost his knife. And I'm like, Beard, did you meet Dalinar and steal his knife like 2 decades ago?
Oh boy. I don't get Beard. I don't understand Beard. I don't understand, is he comic relief? Is he crazy? Is he legitimate to the story in any form or fashion besides being silly? It's confusing to me.
Well, you know what? Put that way, he's just like every squad needs Wayne or Lopen, and Beard is this squad's Wayne or Lopen. Just the guy who just says silly stuff all the time, and it's like virtually every line out of their mouth is the silly stuff, just for this. And sometimes it seems like it's just for the sake of being silly.
Interesting. Now I'm having to think back. Like, we didn't know Kaladin's original Spear Squad that well. I don't know that there was a silly person in there, but we didn't know them very long, so maybe it doesn't count.
I mean, it's not like all the time. I mean, the Mistborn books, even the comic relief guys they weren't just purely comic relief. And before anyone comes at me, it's like, I know Wayne wasn't purely comic relief either, but that was definitely one of his primary functions.
I would argue it was over 50% of his function for sure.
Oh yeah, I'd say at least 2/3, possibly 3/4.
Was his presence integral to things going well? Yes. Did his dialogue reflect over 50% useful? No.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like Beard just strikes me as like, let's give this group their own comic relief dude who just says the most bizarre shit. And I'm like, okay, cool. Oh, we're gonna belabor this point. Okay.
I was trying to think of the different like squads we've seen. And I was like, well, Shallan has her group of like of deserters and stuff, and there's not there is, because there's I'm dying, Sarge.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, okay.
Paddy O'Brien or whatever his name is.
Paddy O'Brien.
Beard's point is to tell outlandish stories that nobody believes,
I guess.
And basically, also, no one listens to him. At one point, he's like, Cal, you haven't even learned to ignore me yet, which most people do after our first dinner together, so I appreciate that. But Kaladin is on patrol with a few of these guys, and as they're walking, they spot a guy that they start making fun of because of his ridiculous suit. And Kaladin turns around, he's like, holy crap, that's Adolin. I mean, he doesn't look like Adolin at the moment. He's disguised, but he's wearing a fancy suit, a yellow one. And they're just all like making fun of like, look at this rooster over here, or roosting chicken. I'm sorry, is what they say. Somewhere a kingdom is without its banners because that fellow bought them all up and made coats out of them.
I know we just had like a highborn party thing going on, but this seems really incongruous for this city under siege, for them to just be so casual about a dude lounging around out in the open.
Yeah. Well,
and rich people do what they want, I guess.
Yeah, Kaladin's like, I
Yes.
mean, maybe that guy can fight. Maybe we should recruit him. You know, that feels like the kind of thing that in this city of emergency, like, here's an able-bodied guy. Why don't we see?
Yeah.
But no, they're like, oh, those light eyes. They're we're all light eyes, but those are like they call them middlers, I think here.
We're all
Yeah,
light eyes,
those
but
guys are
those
useless.
guys, we're
Kaladin's having a crisis because, like, but you're a light eyes.
yeah,
And then there's like, but Kaladin, you're a light eyes. Ah!
yeah. Wait, I am? Oh yeah, that's right.
And I love the moment where he goes, "How can you say that? I mean, he's light-eyed like us." And then he goes, "Did that sound fake? It sure is nice being light-eyed, as I, of course, have light eyes like you."
It sure is nice being here with these light-colored eyes that nobody could say that I don't have because they are that color.
Have I mentioned how light my eyes are today?
Yeah, have you guys seen my eyes? They're great. Isn't it great?
My eyes are lighter than the dark eyes of dark eyes.
Have you seen the darkest of eyes? They're not mine. Mine are light.
Like,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
if Sanderson had written this as a comedy, I could totally see that being a bit that Kaladin's
Yeah.
doing right now.
That's what we need is like a parody play, and Kaladin's like the lovable guy who thinks he's a soldier, but he's actually like super awkward and goofy and doesn't know how to talk to people, which is kind of him anyway.
That's yeah. You don't have to push too far for that.
We need the Ember Island players version.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so good at being a surgeon, but I have to be a soldier. But I like being a soldier, but I have to be a surgeon. Man, what a conundrum.
The Reshi Isle players.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, middlers like that, they're useless. They'll just, boss you around and like have no idea what they're doing. Eat twice as much food as an honest man.
Wait, what?
That's what he says.
Those middlers, they eat more. Okay. What does that make you dishonest?
Beard. Like we do not stand for fat shaming.
Come on, man. It's 2025. Come on.
Not here, it's not.
I guess.
I don't know what Stormlight year it is. I don't recall any, but
Yeah. We'll look it up and then we'll say it's this year. Come on.
Yeah.
You don't actually have to look it up.
these guys, as I mentioned previously, even though I don't think it actually came out until this chapter, all of them except for their lieutenant are men of the 10th Dawn, or Tenors, the lowest ranking of Light Eyes. And so, from their perspective, anyone between like 8th and like 3rd or 4th Dawn is just useless. Especially the guys in the 5th and 6th who don't serve in the military. So, and he's just like, how can they make fun of this guy? Like, that's Adolin Colin, possibly the best swordsman in all of Alethkar. Although, I mean, they don't know that, so.
But I do fucking love this, though. Kaladin, of all people, is just like don't you dare fucking talk about Adolin like that. And he's like, holy shit, I like Adolin now.
Like, oh, what's I guess that my guy's I can't talk. Guess that guy's my boy now. Jeez. This is weird.
When did that happen?
It's just nice to see, like, even Kaladin is just like man, Adolin's fucking great.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Adolin? I mean,
Women
ladies I was about to say ladies love him. Girls adore him.
Until he dates him.
Yeah, until they've gone out a couple times, right?
Except for Shallan.
And one of the guys is like, those guys just have parties. Best thing for them, really. Keeps them out of our business. Which should put a new slant on Kaladin being like, they're having parties. And Adolin is actually here to give Kaladin a signal to be like, it's okay, everything's smooth, stay with them, or else like bug out and come back to the tailor shop. And so for today, everything's going good. And the people don't like this patrol very much. And they're like, why? Don't they understand that we're protecting them? And Nero's like, they see that we're fed. They smell food coming from our barracks. It's not, they're thinking with their stomachs, not their heads. And then Beard has this moment of like, most of these guys are from that cult anyway. I'll have to infiltrate that one of these days. Maybe marry the high priestess. But let me tell you, I'm terrible in a harem. Last time the other men grew jealous of me getting all the attention.
What is he talking about?
And one of the guys is like, oh, she laughed so hard at your offering, she got distracted, huh? And that almost leads into another story. He's like, actually, there is a story, but I don't know what he was going to say. But I feel like...
See, this just feels like, someone copied Lopin or Wayne's homework.
Don't. It's funny too. It's like, even though he's annoying, I'm like, don't interrupt Beard. Let the man cook. I want to hear what he's got to say.
I want to hear what crazy shit he comes up with now. And it looks like what's actually happening here is that there's like a delivery of food being exchanged. they're giving food to like the nobles, and the nobles like distribute it to the people, basically, theoretically. And then a weird, creepy guy comes up, or a group, actually, sorry, of those cult guys wearing the costumes, and it's like, ugh, we might have to beat these guys back with our, like, truncheons.
Such a fun word. Truncheon.
Yeah, right?
Truncheon.
Eventually, the handoff...
Because it sounds like lunch.
The handoff goes smooth-ish, and Kaladin even tries to ask one of these noblemen's troops, he's like, why do we do this during the day? And also, why don't you just come to the warehouse and get the stuff, not like meet us part way? And the guy just doesn't answer, moves Kaladin out of the way, and they take the wagon. It's like, valid questions, we will not be answering those.
Excuse me. Hey, wait.
And then it's time to head up to the wall. I love the note, once again, that Beard does not have a beard. The only person in the squad with a beard is Noro. And Kaladin notes that it's not a real great beard that he has, but like, why is this guy called Beard? I want to know.
The one story you want him to tell.
Right?
Do you think if Kaladin just asked him, he would tell him? I mean, he says everything else. He might just come up with some crazy story. It's
yeah,
like,
you might not be able to believe it.
Yeah, well, it's quite this tale. Have a seat. Let me tell you all about it.
And Kaladin starts trying to pry some info out of Beard. Beard talks about how they lost the real High Lords either in the riot or when they went up to the palace and never came back. So we got to deal with these kind of like crappy guys. But also, Kaladin's like, so when are you going to tell me where all the food comes from? And Beard's like, look, see, I don't know where it comes from, but the first thing Azure had us do when she took command was attack this monastery that's away from the palace. The place had been overrun by rioters. And Kaladin's like, oh, they had a soulcaster there, didn't they? And he says, yeah, only one in the city that wasn't at the palace. How does somebody use the soulcaster without setting off the screaming spren? Who knows?
And in answer to that, he starts telling some random ass story about learning to use the soulcaster himself. And Kaladin's like, I should know better than to ask you these things.
Right? There's a note that Azure's Shardblade does not have a gemstone, and the only time he's seen that, other than a Radiant Blade, is the Honor Blade that Seth had. So, maybe one, maybe the other.
I feel like there's something about Azure that we're just missing, and I don't know what it is, and it's bugging the crap out of me.
Yeah, that's what I said last week. I was just like, there's something going on. Like, something's not adding up here.
Yeah, but I feel like it's something that's like they're hinting at it, and I'm just not picking up the hint.
That's what I'm saying, too. Like, there's something... Like, they're peeling something back, but I can't read it. I don't know. So, it's bugging me.
An Azure fellow, or not really a fellow, but when you're in public, you got to say he. And then we get a real interesting little tidbit that one time when Beard got close to the palace, he started hearing voices. And the High Marshal's like, yeah, just don't listen to those. They can't take you unless you listen. Which that sounds terrifying, actually, and kind of comes up in the following chapter. Beard notes that he does not seem to believe in the Almighty. He does not wear a glyph ward, and he's like, yeah, I know a little something about stories that are made up. There's nobody watching over us. Which leads Kaladin and Syl into a discussion about, like, Dalinar is saying that the Almighty is dead, but there's actually, like, another god. And what do you think, Kaladin? And he's like, man, I don't freaking know. He ends with, like, maybe it's just not a question we can ever actually answer. And that's when the alarm goes up. There's an assault in progress on the walls. And Kaladin's like, assault on the walls, everyone equip up, form up. And then he realizes, oh, right, I'm not in charge here. He's gotten very used to being the commander. But either Noro didn't even notice or just didn't care, because at the end of the chapter, Kaladin's like, hey, I'm sorry about that. And Noro's like, what? No, you're enthusiastic. It's great. And they get up there and they get ready to fight off the fuse that might be flying in. And Kaladin's part of the wall doesn't actually see any combat. So they're all fine. And Kaladin apologizes. And at first, Nora's like, what are you apologizing for? He's like, oh, when I gave the orders. Like, oh, well, no, it's fine. And then Kaladin's like, hey, can I be excused to go down and help the wounded? And they're like, he's like, what are you talking about? The army has surgeons. They're already there taking care of it. He's like, oh, right. Okay. And it's kind of the end of the chapter. He's not used to operating like this at all.
I'm not used to being in a squad that gives a shit.
That it has efficiency and stuff.
Yeah, it's probably on me, but since I'm like the captain.
And then the next one that we get, the stone is a sapphire, which, as you can probably guess from the context, is the Windrunner stone. Today I leapt from the tower for the last time and felt the wind dance around me. I'm going to miss this. So Vale is out. walking around, handing out some food. She's goes back and sees that young urchin, I should say, who she's always given stuff to, and the former seamstress with the 3 daughters. Give her some food, and then there's an old beggar who calls her the Swift Spren. She's like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "That's you. I heard of you, robbing rich folk all through the city. You do. Nobody can stop you because you're a Spren. Can walk through walls. You can."
I steal from the rich to give to the, people.
And so apparently Vale has intentionally been kind of like setting up a sort of reputation for herself by also sending Ishna and Vatha out wearing illusions that look like her to also give away food. So it's just, getting word out even faster because you got to get the attention of the cult. Pause for 1 second, guys. There's a noise here.
Mm-hmm. What is this? Zombies? I don't like zombies. Never have. Is there a zombie film?
Played out.
Yeah, exactly. Was there a zombie film you like, Dak? Like, before they became what they are now?
I never saw a lot of the old Romero ones, so my favorite zombie film is Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
that is a good one. I probably like Zombieland a little better, but the Shaun of the Dead's a lot of fun.
Zombieland was funny, but I think Shaun of the Dead is a much easier one to come back to.
That's probably true. I'm not a big
Also
zombie
sick
fan in
and
general,
stuff.
though. So
Yeah, no, neither am I. Warm Bodies was kind of fun, I guess.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
it seemed really weird,
It's like, what if Romeo and Juliet, but zombie? Okay.
Did you guys, either you guys see that Lisa Frankenstein movie?
No.
Yeah, it was odd.
Yeah. Not in a good way.
I mean, like, it wasn't bad. It's just like, I don't know. It just didn't particularly gel with me, but that's maybe because I think the lead actress is overrated as shit and she's in fucking everything these days.
Oh, is she? I don't even know who she is. Let me look her up here. Lisa
She was the new Ant-Man's daughter in Quantumania.
Oh, I never saw that.
Yeah, I didn't hate it as much as everyone else seemed to.
Oh,
but
she's the girl from
I hate-
Detective Pikachu. Okay.
Catherine
She was in that?
Newton, apparently.
Yeah, she plays like the reporter, I think.
Paranormal
Okay.
Activity
With
4.
The one who has the Psyduck.
Yeah, I remember the character. I didn't realize that was her. Like, yeah, no, it's like every time I see her in something, it's like she strikes me as one of those people who is trying to act rather than act.
She's reported to be in Avengers Doomsday. Freaky Friday the 13th. Oh, that's the one where she switches bodies with Vince Vaughn and she's the killer. Okay.
That's right. Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I never saw it either.
Yeah, she's in there was a movie last year, Abigail, which is like a bunch of people abduct a child. Like Giancarlo Esposito hires like this crew of guys to abduct a child
And the
and
child's
hold it for ransom.
monster.
Then it turns out the child is a vampire.
We don't approve of abducting children. We established that in a recent episode.
That's true.
Even vampires.
Yeah, vampire
That
children. I feel like that's
was a
just
fun movie.
bad on you if you abduct a vampire child. Like that's just stupid.
You're asking for it. Okay, so let's get back to the thing. Okay, so as she's handing out stuff and kind of introspecting, here come a bunch of those cult of moments guys. They're chanting, they're dancing through the street. It's real weird shit. Like the freakiest parades these guys have.
Yeah, is it like Mick Jagger, David Bowie weird dancing in the street?
I mean, I could maybe see David Bowie actually being involved in this.
Yeah, only if he does it like in Venture Brothers, where he's like, "Hi, I'm David Bowie," and then he turns into a bird.
Maybe he's disguised as a pack of cigarettes when he says that.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. They have cigarettes in what planet are we on again?
Some death sticks.
Yeah,
but she disguises herself also as one of these people. Swift Spren. It now like it changes. It stops calling her Vale or Shalon, and it says Swift Spren broke through them wearing the costume of a Spren from her notes. A Spren shaped like the glowing arrowhead that wove around sky eels. And so she just kind of gets involved. And there's chanting. Our time has passed. The Spren have come. Give them our sins. And she starts to be like, yeah, I can feel it. The peace of surrender.
I can feel the earth moving beneath me.
And there's a voice in her mind, like, give me your passion, your pain. Embrace the end. Shalon, I am not your enemy. And then she's like, wait, what? Like that's what brings her out of it. Is like it knows her name, and then she kind of starts
Who
freaking
said that?
out.
Yeah, it's got to be Odium Boy, right?
And
Or his unmade lackey.
Hmm.
she originally thought this group might be like she might be able to stick with them and get up onto that platform that she's been trying to make it onto, but now she's freaking out. And she just stops, and the others stop and look at her, and the tassels keep waving, and they're like, "Oh, what the?" And then when she realizes that like they're seeing something weird going on about her, she decides to just go for it, and uses light weaving to make her voice all weird. And she's like, "You followed the Dark Ones. They whisper to abandon yourselves. They lie." And she tells them, "Strip off these idiotic costumes, return to your families, start being men and women again." And then she screams like, "Go!" And they run. They're like, what the? This stuff just got real weird. And she kind of freaks out about how easy it was to fall into like whatever that was, to practically become one of them.
Yeah. So it's like that dissociative stuff. I'm like, wait, what? I mean, I know part of it's the cult thing, but also, and maybe there's some kind of power going on there, but also like just in general, she's having some issues.
Yeah. Let's see. She goes back to look for Wit. Or no, she doesn't. She hears him. Sorry. She hears these like a song, and they're singing, a bunch of people. There's a man leading the song, and she realizes, oh, hey, it's Wit. And she's initially confused, like, how can everyone be so happy? How can they sing in a moment like this? And then she sees, oh, okay, I get it. She had visited the inn, and the innkeeper had complained that he'd moved out and talked her into paying Wit's tab for him. I like that he complained, like he kept complaining when Wit was there, but now he's like, oh, that guy left. Maybe he just complained because he hadn't paid his bill. But and then she decides to go back to being Shalon. And for a second, Vale kind of wants to stay, and she's like, we should go and flirt with Kaladin. He won't recognize us. Radiant, on the other hand, is outraged by this idea. And Shalon, what did Shalon want again? Did it matter? Why bother worrying about her? See, that's where things get really disturbing.
Yeah. It's like, she's Tyler Durdening here. Like, what are we doing?
Mm.
It's like the more I became Tyler Durden.
And so she goes back to their hideout, the tailor shop, and finds Elokar sitting there with some wine, and he's making some lists of the various noble houses they've approached, how many troops he thinks that he can get these guys to help out with. And he sees the design on her skirt, and it's like, hey, what's that? It looks familiar. Oh, that's Pattern. She doesn't say that, but she's like, oh, yeah, Pattern hangs out on my skirt, you know? And I feel like this would be a real good opportunity to have a discussion about, like, where have you seen that before, Elokar? But instead, we just move right on to something else.
Yeah, Shalon, come on. You're better than this.
Yeah. Ask him about the ones he saw in the mirror.
Yeah. Instead, she's just going to be like, can I draw your picture? Make you feel better? He's like, yeah, I guess.
Fascinating. Let's stop talking about you.
Let's stop talking about you and start talking about a drawing of you.
But Elokar's working out some plans, and he has some thoughts about, like, you know, stuff that he feels. He's like, I imagine I used to see myself as a hero. We take revenge for my father's death, and we won, but it doesn't even matter now, does it? And she says that she'll get them onto the Oathgate platform in a few days. She guarantees it. There are few people remaining to whom I can still be a hero, he says. My son, this city. And then he thinks, he was a baby when I last saw him. He'll be 3 now. And this is when she gets an idea. She's like, hey, I want to get a sketch of you. I don't have one. And he's like, okay, whatever. And she thinks, this guy is a good man, in his heart at least. Shouldn't that be what really matters? And she draws, like, what I think is one of the most interesting ones she's done yet, where it's like, Elokar, he's kneeling and beaten down and ragged, but he's looking upward with, like, this noble bearing. It's like, he may be beaten down, but he's not beaten. And he looks at it and he's like, is that what I look like? And she says yes, and then thinks, well, it's what you could be, at least. And he's like, can I have that? And she's like, yeah, sure. And then it looks like he's about to, like, cry. And she's so embarrassed by this that she, like, leaves. And that's when Ishna shows up with a note from the cult. Meet us at the borders of the revel in 2 nights, the day of the next Everstorm. Come alone, bring food, join the feast. So her plan worked. And that is all the present day stuff for this time around. And now we go to, 11 years ago. We left off, I think, had Dalinar just arrived at the Rift last time? No, he had the whole discussion last time. where they came up with a plan, him and Tanalan, to pretend like they'd been working together all along, right? And he's got to chase after this wagon that the traitor High Prince had just, like, some of their soldiers had just left in. Supposedly Sadeas, but we'll see. And there's an interesting note that he's got, like, a group of his elites that are trained for long distance running, and they're all expert archers. And it's like, horses are great and all, but we don't have all that many horses. And also, men are better suited for running long distances than horses, according to him.
What? What is he talking about?
Their horse research is lacking.
Yeah.
Well, part of it is, as he mentions, it's all, like, remember, this is all rock. And there's scrabbling around hillsides that are, there's no grass, there's no soil, it's all solid rock. And big rocks, little rocks, uneven stuff. So I can see how maybe some of that is not the best horse territory.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
I totally get it. At the same time, I'm like, why in all of this? They're such a warfare-heavy society. Why have they not figured out how to breed horses, like hardier horses? Instead, they rely on this, like, other weird science monster breed of horse. Like, what? I don't get it.
They have some regular horses.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like they're doing a very good job breeding them.
Yeah, they are extremely expensive, is what we've learned in the past. So,
I mean, I guess.
it says the Sunmaker famously had an entire company of cavalry, but we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I also like to notice, like, Dalinar hadn't traded with these guys personally. He didn't have time to run 30 miles every day, but he has plate, so, you know, the equalizer. And so they run after to catch up with this caravan of whoever. And supposedly there's a shard bearer in there too, so got to have Dalinar with his shards. It's important to have along. Although I feel like, I don't know that we know of any shard bearers, like, in Sadeas's army other than Sadeas himself at this point, because this would be before Amaram. So do you think, like, Sadeas is personally with this group?
Yeah. I mean, as we find out later, like, and I still don't know what to make of it. I still don't know if I feel like Sadeas is still somehow kind of involved, or if it was completely and entirely a ruse. Like, just because, and I think Brandon does a pretty good job of, like, making us believe, like, well, we already know what Sadeas is capable of later. So, like, it could be him involved with this, but he's also pretty good at covering his tracks. So, like, I don't know. I still can't tell how I feel about this, if Sadeas is involved in some way or not. He's definitely not with that big group, the caravan group.
He's a sneaky fella.
Sure.
Can't trust him. At least future Sadeas. Maybe 11 years ago Sadeas wasn't so bad. Who knows? He wasn't a good guy. We saw that. But, and as Dalinar runs, already the thrill is with him. He can feel it. It's like there's a fire. And eventually they get up and they spot, like, this group of guys setting up camp, but they are also spotted in return. In fact, it says scouts must have spotted them as they approached, because the people who were setting up camp have already run off, like, down this canyon. And so Dalinar gets his blade out, and he sees they are wearing Sadeas colors, and he runs down there. His guy's behind him. He's ready. He cuts down a couple guys who were lagging behind from this group, and then he starts thinking, like, wait a second. Where's the supposed enemy shard bearer? Something is weird here. Why would they put on Sadeas' colors if they're a secret envoy bringing contraband supplies? Like, that's the stupidest to represent, like, who you're really from. And he looks closer at the uniforms, and he's like, something's wrong here. And he starts to shout to pull back, but it's too late. There's a roar as a bunch of rocks, like a landslide, comes down and buries him and his men. And it says everything spun and then grew black, and something hits him in the head, and finally it's over. So it doesn't seem like he was ever knocked unconscious here, but he took a bash to the head pretty good. And he can't see anything. He's like, am I blind? Oh no, wait, I'm just buried. And somewhere in all that rocks falling, like, his helm has exploded essentially, so his head is unprotected. But he survived, buried under all this rock. And he realizes, like, this was a trap. Like, they were set up and waiting specifically to drop rocks and crush me and my people. Sadeas wasn't the traitor, and clearly this wasn't, like, something that they put together at the last minute. Tanalan could not have expected that I would have gone and talked to him and had this whole discussion. Like, this was planned. And then he hears those men digging through the rocks. He hears their accent. And he's like, these are guys from the Rift. And they're not going to let him stay in here because they want those shards. So is this the part that you said you were finding confusing? What?
Yeah, so like he's running with his men, his elites, and then he gets crushed by all these rocks. Did his elites also get crushed by the rocks?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I guess I was confused because didn't he take all his elites with him, or did he not?
No, he just took this one particular group of his elites that are trained for long distance running.
Okay. Yeah, because
And they're
later
expert
I was
archers.
confused because then he's like, "Bring me my elites," and I'm like, "Wait, didn't they all die?
He
Otherwise,
seems
why
like a
didn't
lot
they?"
of elites.
Yeah, I was like, "Otherwise, why didn't they get you out of the rocks?" Like, yeah, I was just confused about that.
Bring me my short distance running elites.
Bring me my elites that didn't die. Sir? What? They're all dead. Oh.
I need my swordy fellow elites.
Yeah. Well, then promote new men to my elites and bring them along.
And bring those guys, yeah. And he manages to kind of play possum until they lift the rock that almost is about to crush his head. And then the thrill just goes and he attacks. And just like his vision turns red. And it says he partially came to himself as he found himself pounding a man's head repeatedly against stones with a pile of corpses behind him. So he killed like all of them, and he's bashing the last one's head in. And he's like, why am I doing this? Where's my sword? And he looks over and it's just been stabbed into a rock because the gemstone is cracked, so he can't dismiss it.
Yep.
Which, wow,
He's having a bad day.
Yeah, that's intense. Somewhere during that fight, his breastplate broke and he got stabbed in the chest, but he doesn't really remember that. And then he binds the worst of his wounds as best he can and picks up his shard blade and just starts walking. And he doesn't remember that much about this walk either, except that the thrill was there, like pushing him.
This is pretty. I feel like this is a bit of an understated moment, but it's fucking awesome because we know how far he had to run, and now he's walking back, like dragging what's left of his plate and his sword because he can't dismiss either, and he's been stabbed, and he's like, nope, just keep going all the way back.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a very cinematic moment. Like no talking, no anything. You're just watching this.
Yep.
His shard plate is all messed up. He gradually leaves pieces of it behind as he goes, eventually only having like the bit around his neck by the time he gets back. And at some point he just starts dragging his sword along the ground, and it says that it's making like a line in the rocks as he walks. Armies made of red mists in the corner of his vision, charging forces that fell to dust and sprouted from shadow again. Like, there's some weird shit happening. And eventually he arrives back at camp, and look, Sadeas's actual soldiers have arrived. And somebody sees him coming, and they're like, hey, who goes there, basically? And then they see him, and they're like, oh my, Stormfather, Kelek and the Almighty himself. They just back off.
It's like, he's just not going to acknowledge you guys. Just get the fuck out of his way.
And, like, it says that as he passes, men start just like yelling about like Voidbringers and a ghost. And he gets to the command tent, and inside somebody's like, impossible, the men are just spooked. It's just not possible. And then the tent opens and Sadeas is there like, oh my, what the?
Hey, it's that guy.
It's that guy I was just saying couldn't possibly be alive. And Evie, his wife, is there crying on Brightness Kalami's shoulder, although Ili is studying the maps. Like, she don't give a shit.
I mean, that's on brand.
And they're like, Blackthorn? But we sent a team of scouts to tell you that Tanalan turned on us, and they reported that everyone was lost, some sort of ambush. He's like, oh, are those the same scouts that said they saw a shard bearer with the caravan? Yes. Yeah, those are traitors. They're working with Tanalan. It was all like a lie to lure me out.
It's like, oh, we should probably take care of that then, huh?
Yeah, I like the note later on. It's like, you're right about them. We bribed one to turn against the rest, and so we're going to kill all the other ones.
I love like that one traitor doesn't get killed because we bribed him with his life.
He's been bribed twice. He got bribed by Tanalan and by us, and he came out of this very rich.
Yeah,
that guy.
He's at the makeshift pub. He's having a good night.
And so
That fellow's name is Vatha. Ooh.
Oh,
That would be
no.
unexpected. It's Gaz. Like he lost all that money in
Ugh.
betting
Oh,
later
wow.
on.
That'd be a thing.
God. No, maybe Dalinar's just like, you can keep all the money, but take his eye.
Yep, exactly.
Take his eye.
A
Oh,
true
no.
story of how Gaz lost his eye.
That would be awesome, actually.
And they have been planning for a siege because they're like, well, yeah, after the Rifters murdered you, we thought your brother would want to come down and get revenge. And Sadeas is like, no, they used my name to betray you. We will suffer rebellions like this over and over unless they fear us, Dalinar. And Dalinar is in agreement. They must bleed. I want them to suffer. Men, women, children, they must know the punishment for broken oaths. And Evie tries to approach him, and then when he looks at her, she like turns pale and backs up, like, oh, what the? And he looks at himself in a polished surface, and he's like, holy crap. It's like blood all over him, jaws clenched, he's got a bunch of wounds, his uniform's in tatters. And she tries to argue, like, no, hey, sleep on this, why not? Let's think about what you're gonna do here. And Sadeas is like, no, everyone thinks we're weak, Dalinar. You have to punish them, every one of them. And the thrill is rising in Dalinar. He's like, you punish them, yeah. That soulcaster my brother sent, she can make 2 things. And Teleb's like, yeah, grain and oil. Good, get her to work. More food? No, oil, as much as we can. And someone get my wife to her tent so she can recover from her unwarranted grief. And the chapter ends with his very dramatic, I'm going to so thoroughly ruin this place that for 10 generations, no one will dare build here for fear of the spirits who will haunt it. We will make a pyre of this city, and there shall be no weeping for its passing, for none will remain to weep.
Damn.
Like,
That's
Wow, so fucking cold.
That's it's harsh. It's real metal. There should be like
Yeah.
this scene. There'd be like some guitar riff like in the background, just like getting louder and louder. It's like, yeah, it's good stuff.
You need drums for this. Big drums.
See, that is like a villain line. That's like an M.
Yeah.
Bison thing. So
It's like, for me, it was Tuesday.
exactly. I understand you're mad, Dalinar, but damn, dude. I mean, I'd be pissed off too.
Yep. Again, very, very bad day.
Yeah. And not only that, but he's still got like the thrill is here, and it's like even as the next chapter begins, it's like there's still this red mist over his vision.
See, this is how you know some serious shit's gone down. It's 2 flashback chapters in a row. Has that ever happened before?
I don't remember. That's a good question. If there was an easy way to identify from like the chapter list which ones were flashbacks, I would have to go and look at previous books, but that would take a long time.
Yeah.
Dalinar agrees to change clothes and washes his face and arms. So he's practically brand new after that, right?
Sir, do you want to put on something that's not just like shredded and covered with blood? No, if I must.
Fine. I'm just gonna get it bloody again.
That
Like-
doesn't sound like something I want to do, but I suppose.
Maybe I should just do it later, considering this, like, whatever I put on is probably about to get charred as well as bloody.
Yeah.
And then a messenger comes and says, hey, there's an envoy leaving the city with a flag of truce. And Dalinar goes, shoot them dead. Sir? Arrows, woman. Kill anyone who comes out of the city and leave their bodies to rot. Which Sadeas is going to bring up again later.
Yep.
Which is like, they're flying the flag of truce. He's like, nah, you had your fucking chance.
Fool me once, shame on me. Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Dalinar did
Yeah.
try, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, we did this dance before. You don't get to fucking try this again.
Yeah, you remember that? I remember it.
They're going to come up with a flag of truce, and they're like, hey, actually, it was another High Lord who was betraying you. And, yeah, no.
Yeah, it was the Vedans. It was the Vedans the whole time. Kill him.
And so Sadeas takes him off to the side, and he's like, okay, we've done what you said. We're trying to keep it from Gavilar. What happened? I've told the scribes, no messages out. But why don't you want him to know that you're alive? And Dalinar's basically like, do you think that Gavilar could do what needs to be done here? And Sadeas is like, no, not now. I wonder if you can either. This will be more than just death. And then he comes around to us like, did you actually believe I would betray Gavilar? And Dalinar's like, well, I worried about it. And Sadeas has his little speech. It's like, I'd cut out my own heart before betraying Gavilar. I have no interest in being king. It's a job with little praise and even less amusement. Well, that shit changed.
I've heard a rant like this before.
Honestly, I was worried you'd betray him. And Dalinar's like, yeah, I almost did one time, but stopped myself. But yeah, it'll be better if my brother can disavow what we're about to do.
Like, yeah, like the guy on the throne, he needs to be the good king, and we're the bad guys because we do the dirty work.
Yeah.
That keeps him on that throne.
Say goodnight to the bad guy.
And then before the sun even comes up, Dalinar's like, okay, it's time. Let's go get these guys. And then we see Amaram is here.
Ugh.
He's one of the generals hanging out, making plans. And he's like, I mean, we can take the walls in the dark, but I don't want to fight down through those streets at night. And Dalinar's like, oh yeah, don't worry about that. We're not going to be fighting down there. Get the oils ready. And I love that. So we've got 3 people in the army with plate now. We've got Dalinar, but his is like beat all to hell. Sadeas and Teleb. But Sadeas does not like to expose himself early. And Teleb can't be the only plate guy running up or he'll get targeted. So we had to do it the old-fashioned way, sending men to be crushed by stones or impaled by arrows as they carried ladders. How nice. And so Dalinar says, give me some of my elites and my own barrel of oil. And they get up, they take the walls, and they look down at the city, and Dalinar's like, burn it. And Teleb's like, but there's thousands of people in there, tens of thousands. This kingdom must know the price of rebellion. We make a statement today. And Teleb's like, what, obey or die? And he's like, yeah, the same deal I gave you remember? That's like our first flashback, when he met Teleb the archer. And yeah, this is the part where Sadeas like, yeah, you're right about those scouts. We bribed one to turn on the others, and we're going to execute the rest. The plan was to separate you and hopefully kill you. And so they start burning the city from up on top, but Dalinar, he's got a specific place he's going to go. He remembers the hidden door that, like, the Tanalan Senior and his family hid in when the battle started. He's like, oh, if they're hiding down there again, I'm going to get them. The door's not hidden anymore. It's metal now and guarded by some soldiers, so take those guys out. Sadly, he doesn't even get to like do it himself. Kadash's men have to shoot them with some bows, and Dalinar's like, man, I want to kill something. The Thrills like want to fight. So cut the door off, and he says, light the barrels, roll them down in there, and burn out anyone hiding inside. And there was indeed somebody down there, because as the barrels go down there, he hears screaming. Let's see. And then somebody calls. He sees Tanalan trying to like get up and out of there, but really trying to get up to his house where his wife and children are. And Dalinar says, throw him a rope, bring him up, shoot down the bodyguards. And they get him up there, and Tanalan's like, please, my family. And Dalinar's like, I am an animal. And what? An animal reacts when it's prodded. You whip it and it becomes savage. Trouble is, once it's gone feral, you can't just whistle it back to you. Please, my children. And he's like, I made a mistake years ago. I'm not going to do it again. You can't let those kids live. This is what happens.
Oof.
Yeah. It's just like horrific, but I can see how he got there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong that he let a kid live, and that led to this. So
Yeah.
There's maybe he could have risked it on the 3rd generation. They'd be like, well, look what he did to my dad and my granddad. I probably shouldn't risk it.
maybe it just makes you more pissed off. This guy's killed 2 generations of my freaking family.
Well, stop fighting him.
And so Dalinar looks down. The whole place is burning. Everyone's dying. And finally, he's like, you know what? It's enough. Let the rest of the people escape out of the mouth of the canyon below. And Sadeas like, wait, what? We can't do that. And as this discussion is happening, the place where his family is, it's like a palace, it says in there, it crashes down and is destroyed in the fire. And Tanalan's like, no! And Sadeas is like, dude, you said kill anyone who comes out of the city and leave their bodies to rot. So I have archers down below. They're shooting anybody who tries to escape that way. Also, while we were burning the city from up here, I had people down there lighting the bottom on fire, so it's burning both directions. Nobody can get out now. And Dalinar's like, but no, that's too much. And Sadeas is like, nonsense. Our lesson won't mean much if people can just walk away. And Dalinar,
The Tywin Lannister school of thought.
so I mean, with nothing else to do about it, and Sadeas is like, all we got left to kill is this guy. And so Dalinar's like, okay, I'll do it. And he says, you shouldn't have betrayed me. At least this time you didn't hide in your hole. I don't know who you let take cover down there, but they're dead now. I took care of that. And Tanalan starts laughing. You don't know? How could you not know? But you killed our messengers. You poor fool. You poor stupid fool. Do you track your own family so poorly? She came to us to plead. How could you have missed her? We don't hide people there anymore. Everyone knows now it's a prison. And Dalinar's like, he gets it. And he picks Tanalan up by his throat, basically. And he tells his elites, like, go search the hole. But it's like the whole thing is on fire. No one's getting in there now. He sees Kadash has fallen to his knees and vomited. Like, this was the thing that was too much for him. That probably led him to become an Ardent in the first place.
He's like, yeah, I can't deal with this.
Fair enough.
And so we cut to 6 hours later, after he's choked Tanalan to death, essentially. And the fires have gone down, mostly. And there's his wife's body. All burned up on one side, and weirdly not that burned on the other. Kind of two-face. And Kalami, Taleb's wife, is leading the discussion, like, oh, Evie must have defected. They're like, maybe she even was involved in bribing those scouts that betrayed Dalinar. And he's just like, you people did not know her at all.
Yeah, it's like, that is the opposite of something she would do.
She'd gone to the Rift to plead for their surrender. She'd seen in Dalinar's eyes that he wouldn't spare them, so she'd gone to do what she could. And he's like, this is your fault. He's thinking, like, this is your damn fault, you stupid, frustrating woman, why? And then he tells Kalami, like, no, she didn't betray us. And she's like, oh, no, yeah, I'm sure. We'll know eventually. He's like, no, she did not betray us. You keep this a secret. You tell everyone my wife was slain by an assassin last night. And we'll let everyone think she died a hero and that we did what we did here to avenge her. And I love the note that's like, Kalami is like, oh, now I'm in on like this super secret. And she, feeling that she knows the secret, will make her less likely to dig for the real secret underneath that. And we end the section with he's hearing screaming in his head. They seem like children in his ears, the ones he'd abandoned to the flames. A chorus of innocents pleading for mercy, and Evie's voice joined them. And that is the end of our section. That's it's real heavy.
Yep, fucking bleak.
Yeah. So predicaments. We're how far are we here? We are 60% of the way through the book at this point. And
Is that all? Jesus.
Yeah. And we've hit that big moment in the flashbacks that we were waiting for, but we presumably still have some flashbacks left to go. So if you guys want to incorporate that.
I was gonna say, it's like, you know, we're still only in part 3. If this follows the patterns of the others, we're gonna go up to part 5. So we've at least got another part 4 where there'll be flashbacks as well. So shit, we got to still go up from here.
I believe there are 5 parts again. So yeah. For next time, we're doing 5 more chapters. That is chapters 77 through 81. 77 is called Storm Shelter. 78 is called The Revel. 79 is Echoes of Thunder. 80 is Oblivious. And 81 is called Ethe and Her Sister. So if you want to try to incorporate that, most of them I think might be difficult. But what do you guys think? Where are we going? What's going to happen? Things have gone crazy.
The only one of those I can put anything to is The Revel, which I think is Shallan meeting with the cult. But what form that could take, I have no fucking idea. Yeah, I don't have a lot of predictions this week. I'm really not sure where things are going. Like, I don't know any of what's going to happen here. The only thing I will say that I've sort of like, and this seems like something obvious which I should have picked up on before, but I haven't. The fact that the 2 main characters we know of who have been to the Night Watcher are Dalinar and Lift, and both of them are also Radiants, and so whatever deal they made with the Night Watcher seems to be wearing off. That didn't really click to me until thinking about now he remembers everything about Evie and we've seen it. So I've been trying to turn over in my head just why, because we don't know anyone else major characters who have been to the Night Watcher. Like so we need to see someone who has been to the Night Watcher but is not a Radiant, so and learn about them so we can figure out, maybe try and put as to why the effect the Night Watcher had on them has worn off for both of them, because they obviously Dalinar's remembering Evie and Lift, so it was like, oh, I said I'd never grow, and I'm growing. Again, it seems like a super obvious thing, but it's only just twigged to me, so I've been trying to turn that over. I don't have any information. It's not really a prediction, I guess, but that was just something that occurred to me. I've been trying to wrap my brain around this week. Yeah. Other than that, I don't have any predictions. I'm just like, where are we going here? What's going on? I don't know what the cult is. I don't know what Azure and her deal is. I don't know where the flashbacks are going. I guess we'll have to see the Night Watcher in them if we've, like you said, we've gotten to the big climactic flashback and we've still got ages to go. So, Christ knows.
I guess there's still, at least like if not 11 years, a decent number of years of Dalinar's history that we don't know. So,
Well, we don't know how much time between Evie dying and him going to the Night Watcher, I
it's
guess.
true. Yeah. It's a really interesting thought you had. I don't think that had occurred to me either at this point, where it's just like, yeah, like Lift, how reliable exactly Lift is self-reporting what happened with the Night Watcher, I don't know that we know. But she seems convinced that what she asked for and was promised is not what she's getting. And Dalinar also seems convinced that like what he asked for is now being undone. And they are both Radiants. So it does seem like there might be some relationship there.
Yeah, but I also just don't know. Like, okay, so Syl is an Honor Spren, and we know Stormfather like is an offshoot of Honor. Are all the Radiants tied to Honor, or was it just like Stormfather and the Honor Spren? Like, are the other Spren just the mixture of Honor and Cultivation's power or something? Because like my immediate thought was, okay, something to do with Honor's power is overriding Cultivation's, but I'm like, well, hang on, we don't know for certain that all the Spren are tied to Honor, so maybe it's, I don't know what to make of it. As I said, I need more information before I can figure it out, but that was just something that occurred to me.
That's also an interesting idea. I mean, cryptics don't seem like they'd be super Honor tied, and we know that that's Shalon's at least. Do we know what what kind of Spren Windle is? I don't recall.
Well, I mean, he looks like a plant, so that could that might be more Cultivation's deal, but
okay, so yes, we do. It was mentioned one time in the short story Edge Dancer. Windle says that his kind are Cultivation Spren.
Oh, okay. So we got Cultivation Spren, Honor Spren, and the rest.
Here on Gilligan's Isle.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so does that mean he's like a higher form of a natural Spren? Because, like, you could... At least Syl has intimated, it seems like, that Honor Spren are, like, upgraded versions of Wind Spren. So, like, do all Wind Spren have the capacity to become an Honor Spren? Or is it you're an Honor Spren, but you're until you've awakened or whatever? Are you most like a Wind Spren? Like, what is the deal with that? I don't know.
This is an excellent question. They do seem to have a relationship. Like, he thought she was a Wind Spren until they found out different.
Somebody, may have been her, said my cousins or something.
Yeah, I think she did.
So, like, they've got to be somewhat related.
This is a fair question. Or I do know, but can't tell you. Either way.
Yeah, so, I mean, we didn't get a lot of story progression here which, we needed the answers to these questions, no doubt. But the majority of our section here was taken up by flashbacks. So I'm like, again, I'm with Dak, like, something's going on with this Azure lady. Don't know what it is. We've talked about the possibility of Kaladin's talking about Radiance or Honor Blades. So I think Dak had mentioned before, like, the only other blade that's been treated kind of like a shard blade but doesn't go away is Nightblood. So, like, those three options are out there: Honor Blade, a blade like Nightblood, or she's a Radiant. So, like, I don't really get which one it is. I don't understand. There's something going on with her, though. She's obviously more than meets the eye. I think it's funny because Transformers. I think it's funny because, honestly, if they hadn't made if Brandon didn't narratively make a big deal out of her secret of being a woman, even though everybody refers to her as a man, and then also, like, the kind of mystery in general that surrounds her, I feel like our interest wouldn't be piqued as much as it is. So I feel like that has to be intentional. Like, he's got to be intentionally pointing us to be like, something's going on with this person. What is it? And so I'm trying to figure out, like, what is he foreshadowing? Why is he trying to get us interested in this character? And so, unraveling that mystery, I don't know. I've got those three options of what the blades could be, how that plays into who she is or what she is. I don't really know. But yeah, she's definitely not normal. There's definitely something going on. with her for sure. Moving on to the Shalon stuff. Yeah, the Cult of Moments. I don't know what that revelry is going to look like, the feast or whatever. I honestly, like, when I think of weird cults like this, my immediate thoughts, because of real world examples, is like it's going to turn like sexual or sacrificial or hedonistic in some way. And so like I'm like, oh, what if this could be really icky? What's going to happen? But maybe I'm way off base. Maybe they're just weirdos. But I I want to know, like, is there actually something at work here? I want to say there is. Like, there's some kind of odium driven or by unmade proxy driven thing going on with the Cult of Moments, but I don't know how that's going to manifest itself. My thought on that is, if she gets into this feast and there is like some direct contact from odium or an unmade with this organization, they might be able to pretty easily figure out who she is, even in disguise. So
Dangerous.
That's something that could be pretty dangerous. So I'm going to guess that I'm going to make a prediction that that's going to lead to some trouble for her. If these people are in direct contact with some kind of higher being, they're going to be able to figure out who she is. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I mean, the Dalinar flashbacks, it sounds like maybe we're going to get like a side flashback that maybe doesn't fit in with the direct narrative that we were reading before in the next section with Evie and her sister chapter or whatever. But yeah, other than that, I don't really know where we're going.
It was Ethi and her sister with a TH.
Oh, Ethi. So, okay, that makes more sense. So that probably won't be a flashback then.
I was gonna say, we never heard of Evie having a sister, so yeah, that would be weird.
Although Evie, maybe Ethi is the sister and the sister is Evie.
Ooh, that's using your ass.
Yeah.
She had a brother.
We
Right.
did.
Isn't her
Yeah, we knew about the brother. He's like hedonism. He's he's indulging himself in Herdaz or whatever. He's eating lots of chowder.
I like just on that topic, like talking about what could happen at the revel. Hoy did call it like hedonism when he was talking about what they did. So yeah, it seems like it. Also, the word revel, I think, just like brings that sort of thing to mind.
Party.
So
yeah,
some weird, some crazy eyes wide shut shit.
None of the chocolate sauce all over me.
Oh god.
You know what? I don't know if I'd prefer hedonism bot shenanigans or eyes wide shut, but
Ew. I don't think either one sounds good, honestly.
no, not great.
Hedonism
Neither
at
one
least is hedonism bot is at least funny
it's true.
in his ridiculousness.
Where's the supercut of Eyes Wide Shut starring Hedonism Bot?
I don't think I want to see that at all. This is like we're getting into like
This is the
dinosaur erotica territory over here. Like, not into it.
yeah.
Hedonism bot
This is
erotica, right? Yeah.
Yuck.
You've heard of the best of both worlds. Get ready for the worst of both worlds.
I don't want any of it.
Also, I like the way that you laid it out. Like, here are the three possibilities you thought up for what this blade could be. You said a sword like Nightblood, and then I was like, wait a second, are we sure this is not Nightblood?
Well, yeah, because what's his face has Nightblood.
And I was like, yeah, Seth has Nightblood. Yeah, that couldn't possibly be.
We know where Nightblood's at.
We know where Nightblood is. Seth has it. Where Seth is, that's the question.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. Do we know
we
that
haven't gone this long in Stormlight without Seth, and it's really bugging me.
It's true.
Where my boy?
Do we know that Seth is not Azure in disguise?
What?
Vice versa.
I feel like I can safely say that's not the case.
Like, look, Seth is capable of many things. Putting on that kind of an act, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think he's mentally able to pull off that kind of performance. He's too straightforward and blunt.
Yeah, I could believe this is fucking Marisai before I believe it was Seth. Honestly.
Okay.
I mean,
fair. Yeah.
Azure's got kind of Marisai's unfucking everything vibe going on. Like,
I love that. It's like she's doing that. She showed up and she unfucked everything, just like Marisai does.
Yeah, but Era 2 takes place after this, I think, chronologically, and even if it didn't, like, Marisol got offered the chance to go world hopping with the Ghostbloods, and she said, "No, I'm good."
It's true. She did.
I'm gonna hang out with my my weird boyfriend. It's cool.
I got shit to do here. All my stuff is here.
Yeah.
All my stuff is here.
You're not gonna replace my stuff.
Besides, all my things are here.
Yeah. The savior. That guy's not worth following.
So yeah, maybe it's not somebody from a different world. It'd be hilarious if it was Marisai, but
It doesn't have to. I mean, it could be somebody from a different world without it having to be.
well, that's okay. Fair point. I
I
wasn't really
guess.
thinking that through. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've already got Vasher, right? We know he's here, and he's from.
Yeah, Vasher and Nightblood are both here.
Yeah, Vasher and Nightblood are both here. So like, we've got that. So it's possible.
We've got, and we know that Galadon and
Bayon and
shit,
Daemu.
that's yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
Nemu. What's the dude from White Sands?
Bayon.
Yeah, he's there too, right?
Yeah, like, we know there are people from other worlds on this planet.
It's true.
So I guess it's possible, but
Wasn't there one
Also,
more
I
we knew about? Well, I'm trying to
Uh,
think.
Daemu, Bayon, Galadon,
so the Ghostbloods.
Vasher.
Yeah, I mean, I assume like maybe Chris has showed up to Roshar at some point. We just haven't seen her.
Oh, and well, we know the Ghostbloods have the one lady with the wood mask that is like probably from South Scadrial or whatever.
Yeah. That hangs out. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess Azure could be someone from like another planet. I've speculated before she could be a Ghostblood, but she doesn't fit like any other characters that I can think of that we've met. So like, I don't know.
Yeah. Fair enough. So we have one new patron, and we'll do a couple more emails this week. So you can get your patronizing list ready, Joe. In the meantime, I will read a couple of emails. Let's see here.
Patronizing list. That doesn't sound good.
No, I always say that, and then always immediately go, that's not really a good word to use for that. All right. This one is from Will, and it says, "Hey, Sanderlands crew. I've never written to a podcast before, so sorry if I go on too long. First of all, I'd like to thank y'all for the podcast. I've just finished your coverage of Warbreaker and wanted to get this to y'all before I heard your Stormlight coverage. I've got a compliment for you, but it takes a little bit of explaining. I made an unfortunate mistake when I was younger and ended up having to serve a little time, 2 whole years in fact. While it sucked, it was deserved, and I'm doing better now. The US's prison system is a scary place, but it's not like TV and movies. For starters, if you keep your head down, it's actually quite easy to stay out of trouble. Luckily, I was able to find a safe dorm, quote in quotes, to serve my time. While the prison I was at never reopened its library after COVID, the dorm that I was in had an extensive inmate-donated library. One of the first series I tackled was Wheel of Time. I had always enjoyed reading, but had never quite had time for it. Most of y'all's complaints about it are valid, but I think the series stuck the landing. After Wheel of Time, I tore through a ton of other series that I hadn't had time for. Eventually, I'd burn myself out on long series and asked an acquaintance for a shorter fantasy series, like 1 book or something. After he called me an idiot, his eyes lit up and he explained a little bit about the Cosmere and suggested Warbreaker. I ended up reading it in about a day and a half and haven't looked back since. Both Mistborn and Stormlight were fairly popular in the dorm, so at the time it was easy to find people to talk about the books with. It's literally the only thing worth missing from prison. So, with the purest intentions, I say y'all make a fantastic replacement for a group of crooks and cons. So there's your compliment, guys.
Oh.
Wow, that is something like, if we, you know how like on the movie posters they get quotes from critics like praising them. That's the line.
Yep, exactly.
that we put on ours. That's fucking awesome.
You know, he didn't give us a 5-star review, but I felt like that was a 5-star review. So I'm gonna jump him into the Mist and Crew just because I feel like it was a great story and a very vulnerable thing to share with us. I appreciate it. That was cool.
Yeah.
So hey man, you are a rioter, and I don't mean that in the prison sense.
Yeah, that's a choice. Okay, let me see. There's a little postscript bit here. I'm curious to see how the crew reacts to Wit. They haven't seemed very impressed with Brandon's jokey character so far. For instance, their take on Wayne made me rethink the entire character. Definitely something I didn't think about when I flew through Air 2 the first time.
I am ruining that for so many people, and I am not proud of that.
I feel like that's part of the thing I love about our show is like we get to have deep character dives, and if we want to critique some stuff that we don't necessarily find, super lovable about a character, that's our prerogative. Like,
Yeah.
we don't take things blindly and just say, yeah, good book, love it. Like, I feel like that's important to actually dive deep in and figure out like the ins and outs and things that are like good and things that are like, hey, maybe that's like not a character that we should just love completely.
Now that you've read into Roshar, has the crew caught any links to previous books, like the Chowda on Scadrial or the Alphabet's letters on Nalthis?
What?
I'm not actually. We saw. I did call out the Chowda thing. I think that we'd seen Chowda.
Yeah,
on
you
Yeah.
called out the Chowder. What's this about the alphabet?
I'm not sure actually what this is a reference to. There's only one thing I can think of. On Nalthis, it's mentioned once that there is a letter called Shosh. When Siri is teaching Susebron how to read, it's like, oh, that's the letter Shosh, which is also the glyph on Kaladin's head that means dangerous.
Yeah.
I believe someone has asked Brandon about that, and he was like, yeah, it's just like a coincidence.
Yeah, learning to read for him was dangerous, so maybe that's the link. Nah, I like how Brandon's even like, it's not a thing.
Yeah, he's planned out all these deep connections to all the planets and like all these really subtle hints and everything. And then there's that one. He's like, nah, nothing. That was just a coincidence.
Yeah, I was, I write a lot of books. What can I tell you? I use
You
the
can only
same.
come up with so many fantasy words.
Yeah, like I use the word over again. It's in a library of words. It's hard.
It was a good word. I wanted to use it again.
Yeah, shosh. Who doesn't like that word?
I listen on Podbean and don't know how to rate y'all, but thanks again for the great show. Well, there you go. Joe hit you up already.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
P.S. I'm sure somebody else has told y'all this already, but the first time you asked the crew what they thought some other shards might be, someone mentioned cultivation, and I nearly spit out my coffee.
Did we?
I think it we may be conflating things, but I think cultivation gets mentioned by Chris in Secret History, I think, and
yeah, that would make sense if we'd heard it before.
Yeah, that is one that you guys had called back to at some points to be like, oh, well, that was a shard that got mentioned, right? So
yeah.
Well, I know we've done this before, but like, what are the lists of the one the one on Cell? Was it Dominion?
There was Dominion and Devotion.
And Dominion.
Yep.
Devotion and Dominion. Preservation and Ruin.
Yep.
Odium.
What's
the super independent one?
Oh, Autonomy.
Okay. And then
also got Honor and Cultivation.
Honor and Cultivation.
And Endowment was on Nalthis.
That's
Endowment
right.
was on Nalthis.
That's 9.
We're told that Odium killed Ambition.
Okay.
Ambition.
So it's 10.
Right.
Which is responsible for the weird shit in the Forests of Hell somehow. But yeah, we know.
I forgot about that story. That one was actually pretty good.
I got to look at the list real quick and see if there's any other ones that we've heard of. Or is 10 the correct number? That would kind of be appropriate given how big 10 is where we are now on Roshar. Let's see.
Yeah.
Devotion, Dominion, Preservation, Ruin, Odium, Cultivation, Honor, Endowment, Autonomy, Ambition. Yes, those are the ones that we know at this point.
Okay. And Data, you do not have to. Well, I guess I shouldn't even ask the question. That'll put you in an awkward spot.
Let's do. Oh, well, hold on. That one is a question specifically for Jaymee. Let's not do that one this time.
Yep.
Okay, this one's a quick one from Naomi about glyphs. Hey, Samuel Lynch crew, it's Naomi. I've been enjoying the podcast like always. It's been really nice to something to listen while. I assume that's supposed to be to have something to listen to while driving back and forth between home and college. It's not too bad of a drive, but it's nice to have something to fill the silence. In your latest episode, you mentioned glyphs and how they represent objects and could change to mean the same thing. That's funny because in my art history class, we discussed cuneiform, a Mesopotamian writing language that used glyphs to represent objects that changed over time to mean the same thing. Maybe Brandon used this when creating glyphs? I don't know, just a cool coincidence. Here's a slide for reference.
Probably. I mean, cuneiform
seems like something Brandon would do.
Yeah, and cuneiform's like the first, I think, like one of the first documented forms of writing. So like, it's importante in world history for sure.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to. This is like getting into deep history nerd vibes, but there's a language in like the ancient Greek area called Linear A that's never been able to be translated. And that's always something like I thought in the back of my mind would be really cool to like somehow Indiana Jones find a Rosetta type stone thing to translate Linear A. Be pretty cool.
Nice. Get the cipher.
Yeah, linear A used by the Minoans of Crete from 1800 to 1450 BC. Interesting.
Yep.
It evolved into linear B, which, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Linear B has been translated. Linear A has not.
Wow.
You know what? We have a bunch of emails in here. Let's go ahead and throw one more before we wrap up. This one is from Heather, and it says, "We'll catch up eventually. Hello, Sanderlands crew. I just finished your coverage of Warbreaker and had to give it my 2 cents. This was my second book of Brandon's, so it kind of holds a special place in my heart. I had to read Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians for a young adult literature class in college. My friend that lent it to me also lent me Warbreaker because she wanted me to experience his more adult writing also, but didn't want me to be put in a position of starting one of a series that I might not like. While I did like it, I had too much else."
That is entirely fair.
Yeah, right?
Like, there's nothing worse than picking up, oh yeah, I've got this nice standalone book, and then finding out, oh, it's a fucking series, and if I enjoyed it, well, I guess I got to go buy the rest now.
Right. And
yeah.
the cool
In this economy.
Yeah, exactly. I do think Warbreaker is probably the good choice if you're going to do a standalone book too. I feel like Elantris isn't as user first time reader friendly, so I feel like that's probably Warbreaker's a better choice.
You're quite possibly right. I feel like I've talked about it on here before, but my wife was in a bunch of like book of the month clubs. She was reading a whole bunch of different stuff, and she got one that was like, "Hey, I hear this one's good. You might like it. I'm not reading it yet." And it's called 5 Broken Blades. And I was like, I don't want to start something that's not finished. So I went out to Google and I was like, is this a standalone book? Yes, it is a standalone book. Great. Read it. And the ending, it ends on like this big cliffhanger. It was clearly not a standalone book, but it had just come out. So the second book was not out for a while. I was just pissed off. I think that really tainted my opinion on that book for a while because I was real angry about it. But I am currently reading, came out not too long ago, the third book in that series, which may be the last one. It says it's a 5 Broken Blades, or the Broken Blades trilogy, so I assume this is the last one. It's weird though, because it was like 5 Broken Blades, 4 Ruined Realms, and now 3 something. And so I mean,
that sounds like they're building towards something. Yeah,
exactly. I assumed that was going to be a 5-book series, but this says it's a trilogy, so I don't know.
Yeah,
is it any good?
They're like okay. Like I said, I may have been tainted by the fact that I was just so pissed off at the end of the first one, so it might be better than that. But it was just okay enough that I continued reading the second and now the third one. It didn't stand out to me.
Yeah, I'm a little gun shy to start any new series that isn't completed. Not because I'm like, oh, I want to read them all and make sure that like I can have access to them all immediately. It's more of like, I don't want another Name of the Wind thing where I was like, got super pumped, loved them.
Yeah.
And then like, we're probably never going to get the conclusion to that.
I mean, I think I've talked about it before, but like I picked up a series once because the premise sounded awesome and it had George R.R. Martin's recommendation on it, a series called The Dinosaur Lords. Just this other fantasy world where it's knights riding dinosaurs into battle, which
you have talked about that. I remember that because that sounded awesome.
Yeah, and like this, and like the writing style just like didn't quite penetrate for me, so maybe I should read it again. But it was intended to be a 6-book series, but the author died after book 3, so it's just never going to get finished at all. I'm like, okay, I have some problems with the series and like my comprehension of it, and that might just not be on me. But at the same, I'm just like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Because like when I was buying them, I was like, oh, well, everywhere says this is the last book, so this is the end of the story. And then it's like, well, that's not an ending. And then I looked it up. It's like, oh fuck, I got it completely wrong.
It is the last book, but for different reasons.
Yeah. Which, while yes, that is a bummer, at least like the author has the defense of I'm dead.
Oh yeah. And like you can be frustrated. It's like, oh my god, the series I was reading isn't finished. A guy passed away.
Yeah.
Fuck you for putting your feelings ahead of that.
Yeah, it's the same like thing. Like, people get outraged with George R.R. Martin for not finishing his books, and I'm like, and they're like, well, what's gonna happen if you die? It's like, I don't care then. Did you see the thing
dead. From the con like a month or two ago, where someone in the audience, Brandon and Martin, were on a panel. And like someone in the audience got up and said, hey, George, you're going to die soon. Have you considered handing it off to another author? And looks at Brandon, and Brandon goes, no. And then like it got shut down. The audience were just like, you can't ask that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you
To his
sir.
to his face.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Brandon has been asked many times if he would finish, because he finished Wheel of Time famously. So they were like,
Yep.
would you finish Song of Ice and Fire or the King Killer Chronicle if such a thing were to be needed? And he's always been like, those writing styles are so different from the stuff that I write that I'm not the right
100%.
person to
Yeah.
even approach about that.
Way
Yeah,
way
I
different.
like all three of those series. The writing style in each is very different.
Yeah.
Also, like I think I saw something. Brandon came out in defense of Patrick Rothfuss and said, "No, I believe he's going to finish the last book sometime soon or something." Or
Yeah, I mean,
something like
if
that.
he does that, great. But like, he's been so quiet about it that it's like, dude, if you don't want to finish it, tell people you don't want to finish it. If you're going to finish it, just tell people you're going to finish it. Like, just defend yourself in some way.
And this is the thing, like, and this is what I always come back to when people drag George R. R. Martin's name through the mud. It's like he is open about, I am working on it. There is no one more disappointed that it's not finished than me. There was a period that he was releasing like preview chapters for a while.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, he's clearly working on it. He is working. He is trying. He's going slow, and you can. And yes, you have a right to be frustrated that he's going slow. But there is proof that he's working on it. Whereas there was that whole thing about Rothfuss for like a few years ago, where his editor said, "I don't know if he's actually written anything."
Yeah.
Or was it his editor or his publisher? One of the two.
I think it was his editor.
I believe it was actually both. The same woman was the owner or the head of the publishing company that published the books and was his editor.
Yeah.
Because it was a relatively small publishing thing that has now gone out of business, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
And yeah. Anyway, but the stuff with Rothfuss that bothers me most is just the way that he acts about stuff. And he, like, there was the whole thing with his charity that turned into a big to-do.
Oh yeah, because like he promised he'd release like a chapter as a result, and then didn't or something.
Yep, it was kind of crazy. He's like, if we get up to like this many hundreds of thousands, or I don't remember what the number was, of dollars, then I'll release a chapter. And then it was like they got up to that amount really fast, and he's like, you know what? If we get up to this even higher amount, then I'll release the chapter, but it'll be like acted out by professional voice actors or whatever. And then they hit that amount also, and like this single chapter of the book has never materialized
In any form.
in any form at all. And it's like, you really don't even have one chapter. It doesn't have to be like a fully completed chapter. You could just be like, hey, this is a chapter that still, I'm still polishing, but you don't have a single chapter of this book that you could read after raising thousands and thousands of dollars on the promise of releasing the chapter. That is really suspect. And also just like kind of gross.
Yeah, kind of icky.
Yeah.
So, I don't mind, people are like, authors don't owe us anything. And I'm on board with that. It's like, you take as long as you need to write your thing. I would prefer if you were like, at the very least, you were you're like, it's not going to come out this year. And then I'm like, okay, good. I'm good until next year. Update me again one time. Just so that we're not constantly hoping for a thing all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm just like, because you see it a lot with Martin. People, it's like, I put so much money into this series. How dare you not finish it? And it's like, well, no, you've got all the books that you paid for. You
Yeah.
haven't paid for the one that he hasn't released yet.
Right.
And so just, even if you don't want to give me even that much update, just don't be an asshole. And we'll get along better than, like, at this point, like, Rothfuss put out a new version of, like, an expanded version of a short story that he did, like, last year or something.
Oh, that's right.
And I
Yeah,
was just
I
like,
saw that.
I'm not buying anything else from him when he's like acting in all of these ways. Like, he gets pissed off at fans and just is mean. And I may have mentioned this on the show before too, but I went to PAX South, a board game convention that was in San Antonio for a long time. They don't do it anymore. But I went one year and he had a panel there that was just him talking. And I got the friends that I was with like, hey, we got to go see this. This will be great. And towards the beginning of the thing, somebody stood up and was like, hey, when's book 3 coming out? Like, clearly a joking, like, haha, whatever. And he was just like, look, I get that was a joke, but it's really not a cool thing to do when somebody might have issues with a thing and he literally spent the entire rest of like his hour or hour and a half giving a lecture called How to Not Be an Asshole. Like the most condescending thing that I've
Whoa.
ever been to, where he's like, here's a story about when I was accidentally an asshole once, and how now I'm better than that, and how you can be better than that. And it was I've never been condescended to so much for so long. And when we left, all the guys the people I was with were like, that guy is terrible. Like, they were pissed off at me for insisting we go to this.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, I don't,
No, man.
I don't buy his stuff now. If eventually the third book comes out, I might, I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, if the third book comes out, I will get it because that is a story I'm invested in. I want to finish it, but I'm content to, like, if it never comes out, I think I've made my peace with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not worry about it. I don't want to, because there is a point where, yes, there are toxic fans who harass them endlessly for these things. I don't want to be that guy, but you know, as we've talked about, yeah, Rothfuss is not blame free in this situation as well, with all the charity stuff. So it's kind of like, I just want to stay out of it. If and when the book materializes, that is all I would invest in it. But I don't want to get into. Yeah, it's just, you see too much toxic fandom these days. Like, the way George R. R. Martin is treated online is just horrific. Online
makes so much toxic. It's insane. Here, I guess let's finish this email before we wrap up.
Oh shit, yeah.
She said that she started off with Warbreaker because she didn't want to start. Her friend didn't want her to start a series she might not like. While I did like it, I had too much else to read at the time. Jump forward a couple of years to where I met my new husband's aunt, and she gave me Mistborn to read. I recognized Brandon's name thanks to Warbreaker and embarked on a journey through Era 1. Then when I finished that, my husband and I started listening to The Way of Kings on long trips to visit family. Now, thanks to you guys and another podcast called Highly Invested, we've read the Wax and Wayne series, Elantris, and White Sand, and I borrowed Arcanum Unbounded from the library a number of times in order to read Secret History and the extra stories you guys have done. I'm currently reading Oathbringer after reading the novella between it and Words of Radiance. And to answer a query you had about a voice for Nightblood, I envisioned Billy Crystal because of Calcifer in Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh, fucking gold. Yes, $10 million.
I can just envision that voice very calmly going, "Hello, would you like to destroy some evil today?" Okay, when you put it that way, I could also see Billy Crystal's voice doing that, yeah.
Oh, man, never would have picked it myself, but fuck yeah.
I love this idea. Sorry for the long email, wasn't to the time next. By the way, Dak and Jaymee, I think your little girl at the same age as my youngest son. He's 4. All right, cool.
Aw.
Cute age. I used to have 4-year-olds. Now I have 6-year-olds. Anyway, thank you guys for the emails. There was some fun stuff in there. Clearly, we got on a big tangent, so that's always productive.
Yeah. Also, like, interesting that, like, 2 of the emails we read out today are just like, Warbreaker holds a special place in our heart. I'm like,
yeah.
You know what? I obviously had strong feelings on that book, and especially the ending, but I'm glad that, you know, there are people out there who just like, no, that's their book. I'm like, yep, fuck yeah, you people go.
It's special, yeah. You know, have a book that's special to you. That's great. I also love that both of these people had read or had listened to our Warbreaker coverage, and they weren't like, you guys hated the book that I love. They're just like, hey, you know what? People got opinions. Here's mine.
Yep. You know, we were talking before about toxic fans. I'm so glad that our fans are not toxic.
Yes, this is the non-toxic Sanderson fandom that we hear from mostly. So that's nice.
You guys are fucking awesome, and I love you.
And we have one new patron this week at the ska level is Joseph.
Joseph, you are a spinner. You store fortune.
That's always a good one. I feel like was that the one the last one got to? I know we talked about that last time. I just don't.
I think last time I gave somebody mental.
The mental speed. Yeah,
that
you're
sounds right.
You're right.
Sparker, is that what that one is?
Yeah, Sparker. If anyone would like to send us an email, the address is thesanderlanch@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram and Blue Sky and Facebook and still Patreon, where I'm still putting up reactions to Wind and Truth, although I posted a special preview for our patrons of something that I do not want to talk about on this show yet. So by the time this comes out, that may have changed. But anyway, check out our Patreon if you're interested in that little stuff. The one that I've uploaded for this fall next week, the Wind and Truth thing, I think ended up being only 10 minutes long, which is one of the shortest ones that I've done. But usually they're like 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 on a set of chapters where I have a lot to say. So they're not huge weekly audio clips that go up, but if you're interested in that kind of stuff, check it out. Thank you to all our patrons, the people on our Discord. You guys are awesome. If you want to join the Discord, there's a link on our website, www.thesanderlanch.com. thank you to everyone who just shows up every week and listens to us talk about these things and go on and on about randomness. We appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Remember, we are doing 5 chapters for next time, 77 through 81. So if you're reading along, those are the chapters to read. Music by Miracle of Sound, and Wuzzing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Fasher. Crabs ahoy!
Coronas wide, supernovas die, fractured in the fateful fall of man. Feel the heart raging of a strength unseen. Unity will bring the upper hand. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn.